Welcome to the 1916 Company. I am Tim Mosso. This is Watches Tonight. This evening, I list $10,000 watches that are worth your money and your time. We chat live, and I share your wrist shots tonight on Watches Tonight. We've got Sid on the switcher tonight. Sid, great to have you. And while we're warming up, you guys out in cyberspace, do me a favor. Check me out, open a different window, keep me streaming. Tim_Mosso on Instagram. I'm always posting new stuff. All of those are 1-minute videos. I also post cars, a few details of my life, bikes, a little bit of lifestyle stuff, but not too much. It's basically like a 1-minute version of my Watchbox Reviews channel, and you'll see stuff here first before it goes up on our website, so you can nab the big one before the Gen Pop knows it's there. All right, that's Tim_Mosso on Instagram. Join me, and I'd really appreciate it. We have Matt F., Enrique Cassiano, Mr. No Date from London, Richard Combs from South Florida. Richard, you're in the wrist shots tonight. Watches with Dennis McLauder. We've got Edward Ledden of Sweden. Weed and Watches from Mays Landing. Faisal's joining in with Jim Millett from the UK. We got Rich Mitch, Sean Hansen, Thomas Burnett, A. Charles. We got Bert from Scotland, Pizza Man from Minnesota. Here they make good pizza in the northern Midwest. Alessio from Dallas, Texas, where it is hot, hot, hot. Mark S. from Brooklyn. Dr. Kevin Moore from Bloomington, Indiana. And the Maine Springer, hello from Arizona. Michael, welcome in Manhattan. Okay, guys, so wrist shots number 1, I asked, you answered. Instant gratification. We've got some heavy hitters right here, starting with John A., who starts the party with a his and hers shot of Patek Philippe and Harry Winston on the occasion of their anniversary. That is sweet, guys. Keep the magic going. Jeff S. impresses with a full Omega Speedmaster collection in the Bentley Continental Speed with the presidential box that was a gift from the Omega boutique. I love the custom trim on that Bentley. Tiffany Aska might say. Dave T. of Toronto and his Rolex Explorer explore the Arctic Circle and Canadian Yukon Territory around the solstice on the occasion of the Festival of the Sun. Troy F. of Utah and his Rolex Submariner visits Yachats, Oregon with a new friend right there. That looks like a male fiddler crab, maybe? I'm guessing. I'm not a biologist or a marine biologist. Richard C. amazes with an original set, Patek Philippe Chronometro Gondolo chronograph, the real deal from back in the day. You could see all of those gentlemen entered a raffle for the opportunity to buy the watch because there were too few. It was the original wait list. Okay, guys, send your wrist shots to MondayMailbag@thewatchbox.com to see your fashion and passion right here on the 1916. Jumping in, we've got Zach S. from SRQ as well. We got NATO joining in with Whole Milk, Celine Driver, Andrew Tees. We've got Han Wen Lu from New York City, Dr. Stu joining in, Paul R. getting up early in Melbourne, and we got Mark D. staying up late in the UK. We got D. New. My wife and I have matching Panerai, but damn, tip of the hat to matching Pateks. Well, remember, she had a Harry Winston. He had a Patek. But what else going on here? We got Jim Millett saying, hit that like button, guys. That was Jim, that was not me. But if you guys stay with me, let's try to get to 300 concurrent viewers. If you keep streaming, the number rises. The better this show does live, the better it does over the next week, which just makes my day every day. Let's jump back in here. We've got Samuel from Bologna, and we've got 2 saying, my favorite way to spend a Tuesday morning. He is getting up early with us. All right, so $10,000 luxury watches. Today we talk about an important threshold for luxury watch buyers, the $10,000 price point. In the United States, this was a circulated currency bill featuring former Judge and Treasury Secretary from 1861 to 64, Salmon P. Chase. And, well, here's the thing. It's been out of circulation since 1969. Today, the largest denomination you'll find is $100. Fun fact, $10,000 from 1969 would be $88,222 today. Quite a bit of money, but we're talking real 2024 $10,000 here, not inflation adjusted. So Omega Constellation Globemaster Annual Calendar. Now, $10,000 is a really important price point for a lot of collectors. It's that price point where you start to get butterflies in the stomach. It's that price point where you realize, okay, now I've gone beyond my Seikos, my entry-level Tag Heuers, Oruses, Fortises, Zins, Damascos, Longines, Tissot, and Mito. Now we're well into the realm of a watch that's fully priced like a Rolex and equipped accordingly. So, 2016 is the year this model came out. This is the Globemaster Annual Calendar. Don't forget, this is a Constellation Globemaster, so you can see that iconic pie pan constellation shape. In Asia, the Griffin Claw constellation is very popular, to the point that for decades, Western watch collectors who wanted the pie pan to come back were sort of left out. There was just no room in the market for it until 2015 with the Globemaster, and in 16, the annual calendar version. So, green was new for 2021 because of course it was. 41 millimeters in stainless steel. It has a rather exotic tungsten carbide bezel for a little bit of a tonal contrast, but also some durability. Now, the coining here is a lot finer than you'll find on, for example, a fluted gold bezel Rolex or platinum bezel Rolex. It's got a different look to it. It's much more like a narrow grooving, something like you'd find on a dive watch bezel. Lots to love. Caliber 8922 here. It is coaxial, twin barrel, 60 hour, basically amagnetic, a master chronometer, which is the new and highest standard for chronometer in Switzerland. There's a lot to love, and all of this 100 meters water resistant. So while this is on an alligator leather strap, you can absolutely swap straps and swim with this watch. I do not consider it a dress watch. I consider something a little bit more genteel, gold, 30 meters to be a dress watch. This thing in steel, automatic winding, fully loomed, and 100 meters. Batter up, guys. This is a candidate to be your only watch. And you've got a dial that has more than just those pie pan facets. Now, you've got white gold hardware, the logo, the marquee, the indices, the hands. They're all 18 karat white gold. Now, on entry-level Omega pieces, you're going to see rhodium-plated steel. This is the real deal, white gold, same as you'd find on a high horology watch like a Vacheron, a Patek, a Lange. This is a type of alloy that's not going to oxidize or tarnish or begin taking on a shade over time. That's why white gold is used on dial furniture. And you've got that iconic Omega Constellation star. You saw on the case back a moment ago that there was a little observatory at the center. That's because the original 1952 Connie was an observatory chronometer. Now it's a master chronometer, but it's got that dial side star to remind you. 100 meters of water resistance is quite respectable these days. This is a tough stuff type of watch. This $9,200 Omega is an all-arounder on alligator and a true one-watch solution. And you can really change the look. You can put it on a NATO, you can put it on rubber, you can put it on some sort of a textile strap with the same buckle you use with the alligator. My point here is, if you can wear the 41 millimeter Globemaster, get it. The standard one's $39, but for the annual calendar, a feature which was 30 years ago exclusive to Patek Philippe, that's a prestigious watch. That's a timepiece for the ages, and that is an occasion watch for career milestones, education, promotions, making partner. This is the kind of watch that you will remember not for years, but for decades. Wear it accordingly. All right, jumping into the box. Guys, we are already up to 136 viewers. Keep it going. Soma R, Abdul from Germany, Curtis Arndt from Southern California, Wolfman getting up early in Seoul, South Korea. Really appreciating that. Grand Master Chime saying, let's go Tim Mosso 1916. Thank you very much. We're going to try to get to 300 concurrent viewers today, and we're doing it with $10,000 class watches. We've got Vincent S. saying hello to our whole community. I appreciate that. And Samuel saying, I love my 39 millimeter Constellation. You cannot go wrong with the Globemaster. Joe Pinto, hi from New Jersey, instead of, I believe it's Apex, North Carolina. I know you guys. We got Russell 996, I'm assuming a Porsche enthusiast and a longtime supporter. And we got Billy C. from Seven Oaks in the UK staying up late with us. Okay, next. From Breitling, a longtime rival to Omega and Rolex, there was a time back in the 90s and 2000s when it felt like that was the luxury three, Breitling, Omega, and Rolex. Rolex has since accelerated away, selling a lot more watches above the $10,000 price point. But Breitling is reestablishing itself as a true rival to Omega after losing its way in the mid-2010s. So here we have the Premier B09 Chronograph 40. Now this is a watch we featured many times on the show. We know the pistachio no-date dial, and we have since its 2021 launch, but it's become a bit of a franchise, as since then there's been a burgundy dial, and for 2024 there's a new flavor, which I love, which is the champagne dial. Now we have the richness of champagne, a color that splits the difference between orange, gold, and silver, and this has got a little bit of all of the above. You'll notice the use of a sort of ecru fauxtina on those syringe-style hands. I don't consider that to be fauxtina in earnest, more of a complementary color, and it works fantastically. This is the same size as the pistachio. The new model is still 40 millimeters in diameter, steel, manual wind, but to me this is a little bit richer to the eye. The pistachio has some metallic elements when you see it in person, but they're subtle, whereas this is more of a traditional luxurious metallic grained sunburst brushing. Now we have the Breitling B09 caliber, which is a decapitated B01. This is the thing about decapitated automatics, whether it's Frederique Piguet 1180s or the Zenith El Primero manual wind, which I think is the caliber 420. A decapitated automatic is never a good looking movement, but this isn't a watch you wear upside down. This is a watch that you buy for its aesthetics topside, and the movement does give you the tech you want. Chronometer, 3-day power reserve, vertical clutch, column wheel. Lots to love, and 100 meters water resistant, making this more versatile than you expect, just like the Globemaster. It also makes the watch thinner, which is probably worth the expense of an uglier movement, because as we all know, most watches today are just way too thick. Now the champagne and pistachio dials both retail for $9,000 US, but pre-owned purchase, as ever, these have been on the market for a few years, not the champagne, but the pistachio and the burgundy. You can find those for a few $1,000s off the retail list. And the watch comes with a 5-year warranty, so a lot of these that are 2 or 3 years old still have a lot of warranty coverage. That is really the new industry standard, 5 years. A couple of Richemont companies have gone to 8, and a very handful, I'm talking like Fabergé and Oris, oddly enough, different ends of the price spectrum, but those have both gone to 10-year warranties. 5 years, you can buy one of these cost effectively, but if you want champagne, you're going to have to pony up, because this is new for 2024 in the dealer case now. We have the awesome Pawan asking, doesn't Tudor use the B01 movement? It's a cheaper alternative to Breitling. Okay. Tudor uses the B01 in its Black Bay Chrono, but it makes some changes. Free sprung regulator, silicon hairspring, and a 45-minute chronograph register. It also has unique Tudor finishing on it, so if you were to open it up, it would look a little bit different from the Breitling. They do make meaningful aesthetic and mechanical changes to it, just as Breitling uses Tudor's MT5600 series of automatics on, for example, the Super Ocean Heritage series. It is an exchange. There's a lot of Kinesi movement customers out there, though, these days. A lot of Kinesi movement customers. We could do a whole show on them. All right, guys, we are trending towards 200 concurrent viewers. Keep it going, and you will make me a very happy man. Stay with us. Soturios joining in from Greece, where it is super hot right now in the Mediterranean. We got John A. from Wales staying up late. We've got David Liu, a beautiful watch, he says. Faisal joining in saying, loving the color of the Heritage. Patrick K. saying, nice looking movement. Okay, I'll take that. Stuart M. saying, jumping in late, but I'm here. Stu M. from hot Sacramento. It's hot everywhere. It's hot in Greece. It's hot in Texas. It's hot in Phoenix. Is there any part of the world right now that is not burning? Let me know if you're in that place. Jim Millett saying, keep hitting that like button. Abdul saying, raining here. And Ivar joining me from Miami, where it can be both hot and raining at the same time. And sourcing Phoenix down in Argentina. I love my Argentine fans. Okay, so for France and its capital, Paris, we talked about heat. 2024 is shaping up to be a tough year in ways that are serious and borderline absurd. And that's before the American tourists show up for the Paris Olympics. Fortunately, Zenith has good news for you with a Paris boutique-exclusive version of its popular Defy Skyline called the Edition Paris. Now, only 50 pieces will be offered, so this is truly limited edition stuff. We're not talking 500 or 5,000. Chances are the few dozen people in the world who have these will never meet one another. So you'll have something approaching a piece unique. Now, at 41 millimeters in stainless steel, this watch is the very definition of an all-the-time one and only. Just like the Globemaster, this is a timepiece that has basically something for every occasion. Green fumé gives us a different look here, as we have a green dial, but one that I think will stand the test of time, as this gradient is crisp and the star motif gives it a lovely micro texturing. We also have the wild foudroyant subdial of the standard model that makes a flying pass every 1 second in 10th increments. And quick release lugs permit easy swapping between the bracelet and the Skyline's included black rubber strap. And you can actually see them both right there, the bracelet at the top and the strap at the bottom. So you can dress this up or dress this down and do it without requiring tools. Non-chronograph El Primero calibers are odd ducks, just like manual wind El Primero calibers are odd ducks. But they are also distinctive and expected from Zenith, and the caliber 3620 here is more interesting than Zenith's aging elite, so I'm happy to see this non-chrono El Primero drafted into duty. It's got a 60-hour power reserve, stop seconds, a silicon escapement, a 36,000 vibration per hour beat rate, because of course, and of course all this is 100 meters water resistant. Check out the regulator, where Zenith has adopted Edicron for fine timing and beat error adjustment, while still using its eccentric screw micrometric regulator for very fine adjustments of about 3 to 5 seconds a day. A lot of smart engineering here, maybe not the most attractive movement, but a well-designed and well-built one. Officially, this is only available in the French Zenith boutiques and through the French e-commerce platform, but it's actually listed with the United States dollar USD price on Zenith's US market website. So maybe it can also distract the United States from all the misery we've got to deal with this year. Thanks, Zenith. I appreciate that. And for $9,800 US dollars, all of us can escape the slings and arrows of 2024, no matter where you are in 2024. All right, jumping back to our box. We have Andrew T. asking, how's the cleaning of the Sen going? I would imagine not well based on that headline. We have Olivier saying, hi, Tim Mosso. We've got BWV478 saying no AC in Paris, that's the main problem. And that's a fact. A lot of the Olympic teams going there this year are bringing their own window air conditioners. How bad is that? We have JD saying it's not hot in Sydney. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see weather news from Sydney that doesn't make like international headlines for heat or fire. What else is going on here? We got JD, David Remus, We Are V saying he's glad he made it, Patrick K, and Richard T, greeting from the Gold Left Coast, Tim, and then the awesome Pawan, shots fired at Omega. A comment, love that Zenith fancy rotor. And from Doc Mick in Florida, better late than never, glad to have you with us. Crazy Watch, welcome. Okay, so viewer wrist shots number 2, I asked, you answered. Kerry B starting us off with a swim in his Oris Aquis upcycle featuring its C plastic recycled dial. Every little bit helps. We have Kevin M and his Grand Seiko SBG Y26 visiting the Chicago Symphony to see Wynton Marsalis. Very cool and tough to take a picture in that kind of light, but you did it well. We have Noyan E and his Tag Heuer navigating traffic in Karachi, Pakistan. Josh P of Ontario, Canada, puts the finishing touches on his Cervelo road racing bike with his watch, yes, but also 1916 reviews on the television. That's the Master Compressor Memovox in the background and Rolex in the foreground. I'm loving it. Ali D of Southern California rolls with his Mercedes-Benz AMG GLE 53 with the Mont Blanc Star Legacy Chrono inspired by Minerva. Guys, send your wrist shouts to mondaymailbag@thewatchbox.com to see your pieces on these pixels. How are we doing here? Oh boy, we're just about at 200 viewers. Keep this going. Let's see if we can get to 300. The more of you stay with me, the faster the number builds. It's like a snowball downhill, only it increases. We have Watch Reporter. We have Stewart. We have Space G95 from Gaithersburg, Maryland, outside of Washington, D.C., rocking his Aragon Divemaster 4 Evo with platinum mother-of-pearl dial. Sound off, guys. Wrist check. What are you wearing? Let me know in there. We have Moto Gunner saying, as a trumpet player, Winton is fantastic. Great piece, too. You should definitely check out my Collector Conversation, Watches of a Professional Musician, to see what a pro trumpet player here in Philadelphia is wearing. John Green and Chillin' M asking me, what time zone am I in? I am in the U.S. Eastern time zone. What else is going on? Back to our regularly scheduled program, $10,000 luxury watches. As a rule, I've tried to focus today's show on watches that are close to $10,000. Obviously, a $100 G-Shock is less than $10,000. It's a great watch. I'm not going to dispute that, but I'm trying to keep the options as comparable to each other as possible. Also, having opened the discussion with a little note of how challenging the $10,000 price point can be for first-time buyers, I wanted to confront that uncertainty head-on with my first 3 selections. That said, I do want to feature one watch that undercuts my target price by nearly half, and that's the Frederique Constant Manufacture Slimline Monolithic. We have to talk about this watch. Announced in 2021, the Monolithic pushes the boundaries of what's possible with mechanical watchmaking by substituting a monolithic, that is one-piece component, that replaces the balance wheel, hairspring, anchor, balance staff, roller table, 26 parts in all. Created with DRIE, the only non-silicon parts are those adjustment masses on the oscillator. Now, Zenith tried this in 2019 with the $17,800 Defy Inventor and gave up on trying to make it work. You cannot buy it anymore. That Frederique Constant has persevered and brought this market, well, it's brought this market what feels like a triumph, as though some cottage industry constructor beat a factory Porsche team at Le Mans. You don't expect Zenith to fail and Frederique Constant to succeed with this kind of engineering experiment. The principle is that this piece of silicon can oscillate at 80 beats per second to create a potential mechanical timekeeper at hundreds of thousands of vibrations per hour with the precision to challenge a basic quartz watch. But the monoblock operates at incredibly low amplitude, only about 6 to 12 degrees, versus a regular balance wheel oscillator, which is more like 280 to 320. This thing barely moves. It's almost impossible to see it moving, even though it's on the dial side of the watch. And because its amplitude is so low, despite its extraordinary hummingbird beat rate, it still gives you 80 hours of power reserve. And that's important to note. You get all of the advantages here. There are seemingly no drawbacks. Now, in terms of what it sounds like buzzing or rattling, not like ticking. It's a very new world, a brave new world with this type of mechanical watchmaking. Plus, it is automatic winding, so it's everyday friendly. It's versatile in stainless steel, 40 millimeters in diameter. It does live up to its slimline billing at about 11 millimeters thick. And unlike the Zenith, the slimline incorporates a date display atop the experimental caliber. Now, full disclosure, there is more to this story. I've spoken to top watchmakers at Frederique Constant about this system, and it's very much a work in progress. As of the fall of 2023, the last time I touched base, they were on their 9th oscillator design, working with a Dutch company called Flexus that's helping them with the fabrication. And they're still focusing on basic durability and daily use reliability, not absolute precision, not yet. So actual accuracy tolerances for now remain below not not above the performance of a conventional mechanical Swiss level chronometer. Right now, they're accurate to about -5 plus 15 seconds a day, which is okay, but not elite. Right now, they're trying to make this everyday reliable for years on end. The next step is going to be precision levels that no one's ever seen in a mechanical watch. And the key here is that the technology is in its absolute infancy. The first automobiles, remember, they were considerably slower than the best horses, really for the first 10 to 15 years of cars. But horses were at the limit of their development. They weren't getting any faster, even in the year 1900. And cars were just beginning their development. They had a lot higher ceiling and more room to run. Ultimately, cars would outrun horses, just as this will eventually best every conventional Swiss lever mechanical watch. Wearing this watch is an act of beta testing the future of mechanical watchmaking. And for $4,995, not only is the price friendly, but you will be on the cutting edge, the likes of which no Holy Trinity, not Langa, not Grand Seiko, nobody is currently probing. This is Frederique Constant's game, and maybe down the line, Ulysse Nardin and Vaucher, who've also experimented with this. But this is something that even high horology can't get you right now. Okay, jumping into the box, let's see if I can catch some of what you guys are wearing right here. We have Abdul wearing his Casio AE1200 SKX mod. We have Celine Driver saying, I think I need that Globemaster in my life. Patrick K wearing his blue 36mm Datejust fluted Jubilee. Casper Berg, Datejust 41 white dial. Chillin' Millin wearing my Doxa Army with bronze bezel. Stephen E joining in from Detroit. Stephen, you're in the show tonight. We've got Slow Boy Fuel Pump wearing his Blancpain Bathyscaphe 38mm. I love that one. And Von Krull wearing his Citizen ProMaster Land AT6080 53L, the main Springer with my Chanel Monsieur de Chanel. That would be my choice for the coolest wrist check of the night. That is a neat watch right there. Okay, now we return to the true $10,000 class watches. Guys, let's get that number up there. We're up to 223 concurrent. I want to see 300. Show me that you care. The better the live stream does, the better this thing runs streaming for the next 7 days. So getting back to the $10,000 watch with, of all things, another Frederique Constant, the Highlife Perpetual Calendar. Yes, this is a thing. Okay, launched in 2020, this is a 41mm steel swimmable sports watch entry in the integrated bracelet sports watch class. Strap accessories come with this watch, as does a quick release system, so you can accessorize this very easily in a way that no, for example, standard Royal Oak or Nautilus or Aquanaut actually can. You may feel like you've seen something like this already, and you have, but for monster money. From Vacheron, AP, and Patek Philippe, an integrated bracelet sports watch with an automatic winding perpetual calendar is big coin. Nobody, though, is pretending that this Frederique Constant is built or finished like a Patek 5740. But in terms of function and use cases, the Frederique Constant is right there with those elites. So, the Highlife Perpetual Calendar costs $9,850. So we're talking, again, Omega Globemaster money for a watch that is now not just a complex calendar, but a perpetual calendar rather than an annual calendar on a full bracelet with accessory strap. It even uses Frederique Constant's own clean manufacturer automatic base. So not only is it a perpetual calendar for 10 grand, but it's even their own automatic movement underneath the module. And again, they're not putting in a Solida, an ETA, a La Joux-Perret, or a Soprod tractor caliber. They're building this thing manufactured from the inside out. I include watches like this in the discussion because I get the sense that not many collectors know that such watches exist in the Frederique Constant lineup. There's even a version of this that has the perpetual calendar and a tourbillon for less than $30,000. And they've got a completely hand-finished version of their slimline manufacturer tourbillon that is as beautifully decorated as any Vacheron and any Audemars Piguet tourbillon you can buy these days. So this is an underestimated company that's going places, and they got there by offering a lot of complication for relatively little money. again, we can change the awareness of this brand. Just be aware that right now they are making incredible things. Let's see what's going on in the box. We've got more guests. We have David Stevens wearing my Omega Planet Ocean Chrono. We have Andrew T saying, Tim's show is a nice addition to an F1 Grand Prix. Jim Millett is watching football in the background. I like this. You guys are multitasking. And what else do we have? Moto Gunner rocking my Seamaster Diver 300 meter Great White. Cull Obsidian. Tim, can you think of any chronographs you can activate underwater? Officially, yes. You can activate the Moser Streamliner flyback underwater down to its rated depth of 120, according to them, and any Breitling chronograph with their magnetic pusher system. No longer in production, but Google Breitling magnetic pusher chronograph and you will see all of the options now available pre-owned. Thomas Burnett wearing my Isotope and Scottish Watches Hydrium Alba collaboration, a great collab between Isotope Watches and the Scottish Watches podcast, enamel dial dive watch with colorful interchangeable rubber straps. I did a podcast with Ricky of Scottish Watches and Armand from our sales department. That'll be going up in a few days here on Watchbox Studios, so keep a lookout for that. Steve S. is wearing his Aquastar Deep Star and saying that, well, no, pardon me, he's saying Aquastar Deep Star and Benthos can be activated underwater. And we have Not J saying that SBGY026 is the ultimate stealth flex, only 100 made in the entire world. We got 77 ASP joining from West Midlands, UK, wearing his 36mm Datejust. And Celine Driver just wants me to say Zelos. That's true, the Cadillac of micro-brand watches. And then Dr. Stu opining, Frederique Constant doing pretty well for a less than 40-year-old brand, and I'll add a less than 40-year-old brand founded by Dutch people. They've certainly come up from within the ranks. And then we have Smoko saying the Blancpain Bathscaphe Chrono is supposed to be activated underwater. I would not second that claim. If they've claimed it, I still don't believe it. All right, guys, keep the viewership climbing. We are looking good with our live audience. So, viewer wrist shots number 3, Warren P. captures his IWC Pilot's Watch chronograph Mercedes AMG F1 at the airport about to fly out. Matt F. celebrates the start of the Tour de France in Italy with his Maurice Lacroix Icon, which actually matches his cycling kit, and northern Italian roads with a 1,000-foot drop-off. Watch the ledge. Brian R. navigates the subways of Tokyo with his IWC GST chronograph. We have Randy S. And by the way, that GST chronograph, amazing to think that that now qualifies as a vintage watch. That is old school, pre-Georges Curtin IWC. And the thing I love most is the International Watch Co. script across 12 o'clock. Okay, back to Randy S. and his IWC Pilot's Watch Top Gun Lake Tahoe, riding high in his Boston Whaler on the waters of Lake Tahoe. We have Stephen E. He's in your chat box. Now he's on your screen with a rare sighting of a non-alarm volcano. This one, the 50s President Moon Phase with calendar. And Abdul opining that IWC is eye-catching. We have Celine Driver agreeing that IWC is gorgeous. And Jim Millett is wearing his Omega Seamaster Professional Diver 300 meter tonight, the perfect daily driver. Thomas Burnett saying loving that Petronas IWC F1 edition. Abdul agreeing IWC heavy hitters. A lot of IWC love in the box tonight. Unexpected but welcome. We got Robert Schaefer 10 joining in from Dublin, staying up late with us. Okay, so now $10,000 luxury watches. There was a time in the 1990s, right around the company's 1996 IPO, when Tag Heuer was one of the hottest names in watches. For many of the Generation X cohort, Tag was a gateway to luxury watch ownership above Seiko and on the way to arrival at Omega, Breitling, or Rolex. And generally, people of that generation remember Tag quite well. Today, the company's designs tend to be hit or miss, as I've found, but the hits are very good and reflect a real investment in the product. The limited edition Carrera chronograph Porsche 963 is an example of Tag Heuer design firing on all of its cylinders. It's a 44mm steel chronograph with a tachometer scale that is made of forged carbon and looks great. A folding clasp with a micro adjuster keeps this Carrera in step with recent trends in clasp design. Named after the Porsche 963 race car, this Carrera features an open dial designed to recall the underlying subframes that bolt to the carbon fiber tub of the 963, which you can see is a very serious machine. Now lume, which matches the color of the 963's lights, is excellent, and it extends to the bezel, the subdials, and the date display. Limited to 963 pieces, this $9,200 chrono comes on a rubber strap and employs the excellent Tag Heuer caliber TH20 based on the previous H02. It's fully competitive with the Rolex Daytona's 4131 and Breitling's B01, and it's even got a few advantages over Omega's 9900, most notably a crisper column wheel feel, thinner construction, and a longer 80-hour power reserve. Now all this still 100 meters water resistant, so while it's a motorsports chrono, you're good for fun in the sun and the surf at the beach this summer. Now let's review a few independents that I love for $10,000 or less. Starting with Azimuth. I'm wearing Mr. Roboto tonight, but my heart's always been with the automotive and motorcycle inspired Azimuths, like the Twin Turbo, which uses two manual wind vintage ETA 2512 movements to create a dual time display. A fascinating tonneau style cover, whether you think of it as the clamshell on a Jaguar E-Type hood, or the rear hood on a Lamborghini Miura, or maybe just the tonneau cover on something like a Ford Thunderbird third generation sport roadster. It's got a very automotive vibe with a sort of pleated leather strap that looks like the Daytona seat option in a modern Ferrari. It's really cool. It looks crazy, and it is crazy on the wrist. You can check my review of this, but Azimuth, $5,510 for a dual time that's built like a watch, and I mean that in the best way. This feels like a really high quality piece. In the hand and on the wrist, it feels as solid as the somewhat similar MB&F HM4, only it costs about, I don't know, 1/20th as much money. RGM, based right here in Pennsylvania, this is an American independent, one of the first of the American watchmaking renaissance from the 1990s. The RGM Model 801 aircraft is a genuine manufacturer caliber American manual wind manufacturer movement. You can see the finishing here is excellent. A nostalgic nod, this watch is, to vintage airplane cockpit instruments, 42 millimeters in steel, several different dial colors. Most people are going to gravitate toward red. I like the blue, but both are available, and custom is always entertained. $8,950 for a handmade low-volume product is very respectable. Now you can increase the price by thousands with the options, and I probably would to get all of the features, but the basic watch is highly accomplished and well worth your consideration. Okay, let's see what's going on in the box, guys. We're on our way to 300, but help me do this. Help me hit 300 viewers before this is over. Stay with us. We have Samuel asking, IWC Portuguese or Chrono? Possible. I think the Portuguese or Chrono and like the Portofino just make our price cut off. Avalanche saying, I got the 1908 Rolex and it's awesome. Just received it. It is very expensive though. We've got Waijun Len saying, Tim, love your review work. Can you do one on the 5231G001 in white gold? I will if I have it. I'll check my inventory. And then we have Varun Sharma. Hello from Milano, wearing my JLC Polaris chronograph world time with black dial and black strap. Watches with Dennis. Tim, do you prefer the Parmigiani designs pre or post Guido Torreni? I love the, probably pre. In a nutshell, pre, but I'm very particular about which ones I love. The old Torque chronograph was incredible. The original caliber PF 110 pieces were incredible. And I think the original Tonda 1950 was awesome. Cull Obsidian, I really like RGM. Definitely plan to pick one up someday. Their customization options and service, I've heard, are fantastic. Guys, if you're just joining me now, please stay with me so I can get my live audience as high as possible. I would love to hit 300 concurrent viewers. It would make me very happy. And now, the coolest watch of the evening by a mile, but also the one that leaves me with the most concerns. GPHG 2022 was the first year I had a vote, and I was fortunate enough to attend the pre-awards reception with all of the nominated watches present. In the Petite Aiguille, a price point category for watches priced below 10,000 francs but above 3,000, there was nothing, and I mean nothing, and maybe even at any price, there was nothing in that room as cool as Ilya Gelfman's IN16 Nixie watch. Can we go full screen on that, Sid? They really need to get a good look at this thing. This is otherworldly. It is literally a Nixie tube watch hooked up to a quartz regulator, fit for your wrist, using vintage USSR Nixie tubes from the 80s. It is crazy. It uses the same obsolete 20th century cold cathode tube technology as the clock behind me. If we can go back now to the standard shot, you could see this technology behind me. I actually have a clock right here made by Dalibor Farney. This is a Nixie tube display. That's made in the Czech Republic. The display on the Nixie watch is exactly the same, with a quartz regulator to tie it all together. Super cool stuff. Now it's large at 46 millimeters by 48 millimeters and thick at 20 millimeters, but it didn't look colossal in person. And when you realize how much vintage Russian hardware they've crammed into this thing, it actually doesn't feel all that large. Once upon a time, Steve Wozniak was famed for wearing a Nixie watch. Where he got his back in the day, I have no idea. But this one comes from Gelfman. So it's a very interesting thing. A 7 to 10 day battery power reserve that is rechargeable. It has accelerometers to wake up the display when you start moving it, so it'll actually go to sleep and save its battery. It has a 3-color backlight function, so you can actually backlight the Nixie tubes. They are luminous and incandescent, but you can also backlight them with color in 3 colors. And you have the ability to configure the display and the time via computer software on your phone or computer. Now, the IN16 is up there with the original Devon Tread as the coolest time display I've seen on a watch, and the price is reasonable at less than half of what that Devon Tread costs today. This is mid-level Omega money. It is the coolest sub-$10,000 watch I've ever seen. So why am I concerned? A couple of reasons. First, some big picture issues. The website has a Swiss domain, extension.ch, and the company's PR refers to the firm as Swiss, and the payments are apparently processed in Swiss francs, but the watch is clearly labeled assembled in Moscow on its back, which is probably why there are very few shots to reverse the case on their social media. So, I have some strong reservations right now about sending nearly $8 grand in hard currency to Russia at the moment, and you might feel the same. I'm not even sure how a US or EU buyer would purchase this at the moment. Some goods can still trade, but there are extensive sanctions and also limits on transactions between banks. So payment and delivery might be fraught. We need more information from Gelfman, to be perfectly honest. And then on the contact page, there's a Swiss phone number, an email address, but there's a physical address that pops positive for Hong Kong on Google Maps, and a company name, Xiaowei, that I have a lot of trouble pinpointing, even with some pretty extensive research. So what do they have to do with this? They're also, if you look at the bottom corner, they are the copyrighted owner of the website. Plus, you could see it advertises reach out on Telegram, and Telegram is the messaging app equivalent of Twisted Metal, with about the same level of civility. If anyone from Gelfman is watching this, Ilya especially, I know he's a watch fanatic, a longtime collector, and an entrepreneurial type. I would love to get in contact with him, because I would love to know how the company, which makes this incredible watch, navigates trade, payment, and physical location inquiries, all of which seem problematic at the moment at face value. I would say also the IN16 warranty is only 1 year, which is about 1/5 of the standard industry warranty for a luxury watch right now. And we are talking about an electronic product from a brand new company, and this is the first product from that brand new company. Now, the IN16 Nixie tubes have a roughly 10-year life with daily use, and that's something to consider if you plan to buy and use this long term. Still, and I cannot overemphasize, this is the coolest timekeeping device I have ever seen. I love my Nixie clock, even if I don't know how to set it. I can't connect it to the cloud. Dalibor Farney, please reach out and help me with that. But the idea of having it on the wrist is next level. Okay guys, viewers shots number 4. Edgar C. and his Tudor Black Bay Pro are in the cockpit of a Boeing 787 flying out of Mexico City. Abdul R. of Germany, our loyal supporter, is back from a sweltering pilgrimage with his staged Vario Versa green dial. Dane B. treats us to a rare shot of his 1 in 10 Zelos Mirage tourbillon with yellow Damascus titanium case. Neil S. features his Tissot Powermatic 80 on a summery rubber strap in the garden. And Mark takes us home with a shot of his 1916 bought Omega CK 859 on the Watches Tonight set with my Nixie clock. Thank you, Mark, for trusting our company. All right, guys, everyone who joined in, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. You make the best job in watches possible, and Sid's able assistance tonight. So time out, Tim out, and thanks for logging on.